You know, I think a lot of the hype and the excitement is prior to the start of practice, and once you get into the nuts and bolts of practice, I think it's easy to bring them down a level. And that's what we've done the last 4 or 5 days, and I think they understand what we have to do to be successful. That's, we've got to be an unselfish group that's going to work our tails off. If we do that, we have a chance to have a good season.
Do you feel it's any different though, being a kid?
The biggest difference for me is that we have some people in the gym that understand what's going on. A year ago, that wasn't the case. Everybody was new. The coaching staff was new the first time working together. We've been able to keep our coaches intact. And we have 6 or 7, I guess we have 8 guys that were part of the program last year that understand the drills, understand what our expectations are, and they're able to pass that on to the new people in the program.
What areas do you think you guys might be better?
Well, without question, we're a deeper team than we were a year ago, and I think because of that, that's going to allow us to do some things, both offensively and defensively, that we weren't able to do last year because of a lack of depth.
Do you go in, guys that obviously were the NCAA, your immediate goal, non-conference, you say, okay, our goal is to win the Valley, everything else will take care of everything?
Our goal's been pretty simple. Let's take care of today. And if we take care of today, and that's our approach, the tomorrows have a way of taking care of themselves. So we just have to stay in the present, both on a daily basis and on a possession basis in practice. And that's been one of our challenges, just letting go of the last play and moving on to the next play. And we still have 8 freshmen and sophomores of our 12 scholarship players, so we're still a relatively young group. And that's one of the things that you have to learn. And everything's not going to be perfect. You have to move on after you make a mistake, just like you have to move on after you make a great one.
Do you have a hunch how much the off-season experience, especially how much that's going to
I think from a confidence standpoint, it's been invaluable. Playing against the people they had an opportunity to compete against on a daily basis can do nothing but help how you feel about yourself and your approach to the game. We just have to be careful. You know, we've been going pretty hard here. This afternoon will be our 9th practice since Thursday night. We make sure we don't burn those guys out. They've played a lot of basketball this summer, not just competition, but also practices. So we're going to have to pick and choose our spots, make sure we get them some needed rest as time goes on.
National media is pretty high on the Valley this year. What do you think of the conference as a whole?
I think it's better. I think as you look at some of the returning pieces from a year ago, I think there should be excitement about our league. And I think there's some quality newcomers in the league as well, which is exciting for the future. But as you go back to last year with the season that Doug had here, Ravante Rice and Greg J. Godin at Indiana State, there were some quality freshmen in the conference last year, and that always speaks well for the future of the league.
Do you think it's a big league then?
I hope so. Yeah. And I guess the only one I'm concerned about is the Blue Jays. So if we're one of them, I'd like to have somebody go along with us. But we've got to get back to the point where we have some consistency year in and year out, where we're putting multiple teams into the conference tournament. I think that last year, I'm hoping is not the norm, where the conference champion does not get in. That's the first time in recent history that's been the case. And we just have to continue to do our job to make sure that doesn't happen in the future.
Which of your newcomers
No, from a pure depth standpoint and positioner standpoint, Austin Chapman has the opportunity to make an impact right away, just because Antoine Young is really the only other point guard in our program, as we all found out last year. So I think Austin probably has an upper hand there, but Nevin and Avery and Jeffrey have both had their moments where they've done some good things. We'll continue to evaluate them the next couple weeks, and then we'll make some redshirt decisions after that.
What do you think about this? I think it was Hubert Davis who pushed the non-conference portion of the schedule. Is that, you have only a certain amount of control, you still have to have guys to play you, but are you happy with the way you schedule this year in terms of building the resume?
First of all, I don't think Hubert Davis looked at our schedule. He failed to mention our game at Tulsa or our game at UAB, the teams that finished first and second in Conference USA last year. But we're going on the road twice for those games. We're going to a good young St. Joe's team. San Diego State was a top 10 team last year. We're going to visit their place, and we're playing 3 Big Ten teams. Before he judges it next time, I hope he takes a look at it.
But you're happy with the little schedule that you put together?
Yeah, absolutely. And the exempt event, the 1-game deal versus Iowa. In the perfect world, you'd want to be in an event where maybe you play multiple BCS teams, but that one made sense at the time we agreed to do it. And in the future, we'll be playing in events that'll have more than one BCS team.
How about Doug? Does that come up to 16? How much improvement? How tall is the ceiling?
I don't think he's close, and I think when our fans see him this year, I think they'll see an improved player. His body's better. He's learning to lead better. His efforts have been more consistent, and a lot of that comes with just an understanding of what our expectation is and an understanding of our system on the defensive floor. He has certainly evolved as one of the leaders of this team, and that's something that's going to need to continue to happen for us.
Did he put on 25 pounds?
Yes, he's probably put on 35 pounds since the end of his high school career.
20 in the offseason?
20 in the offseason. He finished last season around 200 pounds, and he's probably just short of 220 right now.
How about comparing the experience you got with your big bodies overseas?
I think Gregory was anxious to get back because he left here in the middle of June and didn't get back until the middle of September, so it was a long road for him, but I think the experience was incredible. And I think their team probably overachieved with their 5th place finish and an opportunity to give it another shot to try to get in the Olympics next summer. So him being the youngest player on the team, I think there's a lot of learning took place. But Gregory stuck with it and found his way into that starting lineup, and I think the confidence that he was able to gain from that is really transferred over onto our practice field.
You mentioned Antoine and how young you guys are. So how important is his leadership abilities to carry this team, or lead this team, I should say? As important as maybe his on-the-field product, too?
I think they go hand in hand. Antoine isn't naturally a leader by nature, and that's okay. He's pretty reserved. He's pretty laid back, and in some ways he'd rather do his job than get involved in somebody else's business, and that's okay because he's willing to listen to the others. And as long as Antoine takes care of his job on and off the floor and runs our basketball team and is a point guard first, we're going to have an opportunity to have a special season.